Hello Irish fans, I'm Blue and Gold's Illustrated staff writer Dan Murphy. With me here is our senior editor and Irish football history guru Lou Somogyi. And it's a new segment we're going to be trying out with This Week in Notre Dame Sports History. And Lou, fans today always love to complain about the blue and gold game and the spring games, how they're not real football and not competitive, but for our first week of May here, we're going to take a walk down memory lane of the old football games. They weren't quite the same back in the day.
Well, back in 1929, Knute Rockne created what became known as the Old Timers game, and it was a way to generate good feelings, goodwill among the alumni to always come back, kind of like in a homecoming for the spring game. You have the homecomings in the fall. Well, the spring game was kind of meant that way, and you would have former players going up against the current varsity squad to kind of end the spring on maybe a fun note. And there was even a situation from about 1950 to 67, a guy named Gus Cifelli who played for Frank Leahy in the 40s during the dynasty there and was a judge in Detroit. He would come back 35 years, 36 years old, and he would line up sometimes. And sometimes he didn't always feel that was the healthiest thing to do, or even the most, didn't always provide the best competitive atmosphere in that, because, it's a no-win situation sometimes for those varsity players. Like, gosh, I don't want to hurt this older guy, but boy, if he beats me, then I look even worse. So in '68, finally, Eric Parsegian decided, hey, let's go with just a regular varsity format. And that's why I get a kick many times. People talk about, gosh, you can't mess with tradition. You can't put in field trip. You can't, put in a jumbotron. Well, even Eric Parsegian, you have to change things as the time goes on. And I don't think they wanted to put NFL players now coming back here to play in the spring game.
I think you'd have a hard time pulling that off today, especially. Were there any other times when things got a little bit strange or weird with the spring game, or big changes occurred that you can remember?
The main thing that they've had to do in recent years, sometimes with the shortage of offensive linemen, is to change the scoring format. Because, it's kind of started some with Bob Davie. One year I think they had like 7 or 8 healthy scholarship offensive linemen, so you couldn't divide, okay, here's the blue team with 5 offensive linemen, and here's the gold team with 2 or 3. Right. And, you didn't want to be switching jerseys back and forth and playing linemen on both sides there for the offense. So they went into a scoring format many times where, okay, the blue team is the offense and the gold team is the defense, and hey, let's create a scoring system for the defense where if they make a stop on 3 and out, they get 2 points, and if they create a turnover inside the 50, you get 7 points. So, that's how the score, like this past weekend, 54-43 comes about, even though you only actually score 1 touchdown.
Not much of an actual football game. Well, do you have any spring football game memory your favorite one that you've got?
Yeah, one of the favorite ones I had was 1975 spring game. It was the first year with Dan Devine, and Eric Parsegian had graduated pretty much his entire offense, and you were trying to find out who the quarterback was going to be that year. And I watched a guy that spring, and I just said, God, this guy is phenomenal. He's just listed as a freshman and everything. He wasn't on the depth chart or anything like that. And his name, I mistook the number, was Gary Forstek. And he threw a 33-yard touchdown pass perfect, a 58-yard, and kind of was the hero of the game. And I keep telling everyone, I'm 12 years old, you watch this Gary Forstek, you watch this Gary Forstek. And it turned out that I misjudged him, and it was actually Joe Montana. So, I had the right year and the right guy, right class here and everything, just the wrong name. But, overall, most of the spring games aren't that memorable, really. There's one objective, and you saw it with Brian Kelly, too, this past week. First thing he comes in the press room, no one was injured. That's the biggest relief.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Lou, and thank you for joining us for This Week in Irish History.